Hey, welcome to the 𝑑𒂂𒒏𝒈 Pub, where no cats or pets were harmed in the production of this screen.
So far. Okay.
So, what are we doing tonight?
Well, we can find the colors we're painting.
Well, it does tend to help.
Ah, there we go. I don't know how far we're going to get to, but my thinking is we're going to start at the back and work our way forward, as usual. We got the clouds and sky done last time. I think we're going to do a kind of a mixture of Frank sienna and orange. For the face of the stone, but obviously thin. I'm using opens because, you know, they're already thinned and they stay moist longer. It's odd, but one of the hardest things for me to figure out every single time is where I actually want to start.
Very good.
So I've got burnt sienna on the plate. And I've got cadmium orange. Both of them opened. And white, titanium white, and that's also open. For the same reason, just because they stay moist a little bit longer. I'm using that word moist just to fuck with people. Because I know it's such a popular word. And that's not where I wanted to start. Remember me just saying a minute ago it's so hard to start because I wanted to start behind these with those. I got so involved in the mixing of this. I started in the middle and not on the end.
Oh, goodness gracious.
This is back to golden fluids. That's 𝑷𝒂𝒊𝒏𝒈 purple. But it's a lot more than I was gonna take out. It's just weird because it's just barely a dab.
What did you copy?
So you figure out what you want.
Not yet. I kind of do, but then I was like, I don't know. I figured I got a little bit of time to wait and think about it. You can tell me I'm wrong, like, no, I need to know this now so I can research, but, whatever.
Well, I don't need to know it right now so I can research, but
Let me have that.
go ahead.
How's that?
How's it going?
Good. He's
He said good, he's eating his snacks.
Oh, that's always good.
So what I was saying is like If you noticed, I did like 3 sketches before I started this.
I know.
And I'm not saying I'm going to do 3 sketches, but it's always nice to have the opportunity. Plus, like, if I was just doing character drawings, that'd be different because it's pencil, you know?
Right.
I like to do a little bit of planning before I do something like this. And I'm assuming you want something like this. And mainly what I was talking about is to give me the descriptions that you wanted me to, like how they're dressed, what they're wearing, what they be carrying, that kind of thing.
Right.
Like, obviously, I've played D&D. I have an idea what an old looks like.
Yeah.
So,
Although he's a half note.
yeah, but I don't think that you're gonna. I don't know. Has he got like an Irish beard? Okay, I can't imagine like half no whatever. He's gonna be a furry creature because you've called him furry already.
Yeah, I do. Oh.
And I do have the benefit of knowing what it's about. I'm not coming into it completely blind.
Right. See, that's kind of the weird part. Like, so the half knoll is like, I mean, he's my protagonist and all, but visually, I don't find him as intriguing. Like, he's the least visually intriguing one to me. And I don't know why that is, but I mean, it in my head, he's not that cool. I mean, he's cool, but he's not as cool. Whereas, like, Kyra, she's cool. And the problem with her is that, I don't know, like, she's out and about above ground, she's got to be covered head to toe. Unless it's at night. So, yeah, that makes it more complicated.
I don't know if visually it does, because unless I'm doing it outside.
Well,
so
yeah,
far, like, the only place that I recall, I guess a little bit on a boat, but it's every time that we've seen her, it's been inside, right?
No, the first time we see her, she's outside.
The first time, or I don't know, like, because I've read several incarnations.
I mean, technically, the first time we see her, she's originally the first time we see her, she's underground.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So
And it's cool.
kind of inside.
On this one, I kind of got rid of that. I focused just on her. I mean, she's there. She showed up. Oh, man, I'm tired, and I don't know why. Oh. What's worse is around 11 o'clock, I'll be dead, whatever, and I'll want to go to bed, but I won't be able to turn my brain off. So it'll be like midnight before I finally go to bed. And then I'll wake up probably at 6:30 for no good reason, because I don't need to get up at 6:30, but I will. And I will be miserably tired all day long. I should have come home and taken a nap. I'm old. Ugh. All right, I realize it's been like 20 minutes, but apparently I did not plan ahead. I'll be right back. I just, yeah. Give me a minute, and yeah, I'll be back. Thank you, Michael Jackson XD, who said a non-digital art stream. You guys are rare, in case you didn't see that.
What?
Michael Jackson XD said a non-digital art stream. You guys are rare.
Oh, yeah, analog, right?
Yeah. Old school. Oh.
Much prefer to call it digital, but thanks. I think that's a compliment.
I am now once again at peace with the world.
What's that?
I said I am once again at peace with the world. Ugh. So today, I was going over some stuff with my class because they have this oh God, I forget what it stands for, but basically they have an assessment tomorrow that we're supposed to give all of our English classes. And we do this like every 2 weeks. It's really ridiculous. But I went over the tests ahead of time, making sure that I've covered stuff. And it's all skill-based, so you don't have to know much of anything. You just have to be able to read and answer questions. And, or at least that's the way it's supposed to be. But then, I'm looking at some of these questions for 7th graders, and they're asking stuff like, which of these parallel elements? And I'm like, why don't you just say which one of these selections? Because that's all they mean. They just mean selection. Which of these answers, because it's multiple choice, does like they purposely make the language of the test more convoluted, and then they say, oh, your kids can't read, and it's like, or you tested them on questions that were purposely designed to be misleading. Now, if you're honest about what a kid can do, you shouldn't have to trick them with questions. It just grinds my gears. But I'd share.
Yeah, that's kind of bullshit.
Or, they want us to teach parts of a plot diagram, no problem. And then they give us a selection that they're supposed to read on the test that has no tension whatsoever, and it has no action, really. And so your most basic definitions of climax aren't going to apply. And you have to get real tricky with trying to figure out the climax because it's going to be relatively subtle. Now, does that mean they don't know what a climax is? Or does that mean that you just chose a piece that had a subtle climax? You know, the type of story where you have to basically say, who's the protagonist? How do they change? Where do they change? Oh, okay, that's the climax, that kind of thing. And it's just dumb. Because nobody reads like that in real life. Like, normally, if you think about it, when you talk about the climax of a story, normally it's because that's an interesting part. And that's supposed to be, stakes are the highest.
The height of tension, right?
Right. But then,
where the conflict is, where the actual conflict is.
But then they give us stuff that really doesn't have conflict and doesn't really have, like, I can talk about the piece I wrote for the class. I can't talk about the piece that's on the test. But trust me, I mean, it's completely different stories. 100%. But I kept it with the same basic tone, and I kept it with, the fact that there's no real conflict. I mean, yeah, someone kind of isn't happy, and then by the end of the story, they're less unhappy.
Someone kind of isn't happy,
and they talk to someone. It's like, this is the most boring crap ever. And there was a little, because I also had to teach subplots. And I'm just like, oh God, why are you making this so complicated? And it's never just, what's the subplot? Or which one of the following is a subplot? No. It's always something like, how does this subplot add to whatever convoluted thing they've come up with? And it's just like, nobody reads like this. Why are we testing like this? Oh. I can pretty much tell you why, because people make money off of it, but it has nothing to do with education. That's my soapbox for tonight. Watch me get called into the office and they'll complain about me talking about testing on YouTube. That was the other thing that they were doing. Like, they weren't sharing the tests with the teachers ahead of time, which, okay, but
yeah, we don't want the kids to know what they're testing on.
Well, yeah, like, subplot, while technically part of a plot, isn't one of the major parts, because you don't have to have one. And for that to show up on the test without each other, it's like, that's not really in the standard, at least not explicitly. Like, how would I have known to talk about subplots, especially when they gave the story they recommended for practice didn't have one? It's like, well, you guys just trying to set people up for failure or what?
It sounds like it.
It bothers me. Well, this is the group where, according to their first assessment. They were pretty strong on phonics and sight words, but yet supposedly their reading comprehension is terrible. It's like, yeah, that doesn't sound right. You're telling me that these kids have a really good grasp on the fundamentals of reading, but they can't read? Like, I think your test is a little messed up if that's what's going on. And I can tell you pretty much what it is. I don't want to say that kids are lazy, but they've had these tests before, and the teacher didn't want to use it as a grade because it's formative. It's not, well, if you don't put it for a grade, they won't do it. So they're kind of used to that. So they don't think it matters. And then they get these reading passages that, are sometimes 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 pages long. And it's like, okay. So for some of those readers, that's a struggle. Now, I've been working on them with their stamina, basically. We started off with paragraphs of 3 sentences, and then we did about a week of those, and then we did about a week of 4 sentences, and then 5 sentences, and the averages aren't really going down. The times aren't really getting any worse. They don't perceive them as being long, therefore they do them. Now, the problem with such short reading passages, though, is that it's kind of hard to come up with questions. But we'll get there. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I got to use my other YouTube channel with a parent today. I was excited. It's the first time I've gotten to do it. The parent messaged me and said, my daughter is missing all this work, but she says you just haven't graded it. I was like, no, if she had done it, it'd be graded instantaneously. I was like, there's nothing like that in my class. And I had made videos on how to find your grade and how to find your missing work and how the assignments kind of work. And I'd already posted those on YouTube, so I just sent her the links. But that was the whole because trying to explain in an email, okay, click here, click here, find this. It's way easier to make a video.
And the parents said
they would look at. I told them I'd be happy to walk them through whatever, but the videos might be useful. So, and I told her flat out she was the first parent I had shared these with. So I'd love to know what how they work or if they're helpful at all, or if I can make them better. And she said she'd watch them and get back to me if she needed anything more.
Okay. Hold it open again.
You know what's funny? Is part of my brain was thinking when you said opened, I thought they were just tubes you already had opened versus. Anyway.
No, they're called golden open acrylics.
Yeah, I know. And you've
right
told
on
me
the
before. It's just that's where my brain was tonight. Just these ones already open. Just
fortunately, they are.
So I was right. I mean, just not really.
But yeah, I mean, they were open, but that's not what I meant by it.
Yeah. I'm the dummy.
So, sap green, what I want to do is the same thing, kind of dilute it down.
a friend of mine is taking a Bob Ross course so he can teach how to paint Bob Ross courses.
Tell him that if he spends money on Bob Ross courses, it actually demeans his name.
Because it really doesn't go. I mean, didn't he?
No, when he was on his deathbed, they fucking got him to sign away his signature so that his kids don't inherit anything of his. The company does. Everything that Bob Ross stood for, the reason that he did the joy of painting and all that, out the window, because it's all money now. It's about selling his name, not about actually teaching his ways or whatever. If you want to teach his ways, you can watch his videos.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, dude.
But yeah, the company that the couple that sprung for the videos to be made in the first place fucking scammed him on his deathbed. They actually made his wife miserable until he signed over his name. He signed over under duress. There's a video for it. I wanted to say it was on Netflix. It was shameful, really. And disgusting. And I bought some products of Bob Ross before I saw that, and then after that I was like, man, that's just fucking... I will not be supporting them anymore or any of their endeavors.
So yesterday I got a call from Thaddeus from his school, and I had to go pick him up because he was sick. He's sporting a fever, and he's not the one that drives, so I had to leave work, which happens. You know, that's a parent thing, not a big problem. And I got sick days, so whatever. But it gave me more time than I was going to, so I got to watch the Penguin, or at least the first episode.
You got to watch the what?
The first episode of the Penguin. It's the spinoff from the last Batman movie.
Yeah.
And wasn't bad. There were a couple parts I thought, that sounds a little bit like BS, but okay. It's not terrible. It's not super egregious. Like, I'm pretty certain if you go visit someone in prison, you can't give them jewelry. I don't know. It just seemed a little weird. And they're like throwing it on the table and stuff in full view of the guards. And maybe, you know, the guards are bought and paid for or whatever. I don't know. They didn't really...
That probably have to be the case.
Right, but it didn't really seem that way, which I thought that was...
If you think about it, most prison visiting rooms have a big slate of bulletproof glass in between.
Right. So, whatever. And there was one other thing that I thought was kind of stupid. Oh, yeah. So, and it's forgivable, but it's kind of stupid. There's a kid that gets mixed up with the Penguin, and they even say it, the smart thing would be for him to kill the kid. You know, it's one of those kinds where they realize this is stupid, so they tell you they know it's stupid. And I was like, all right. And about the only reason I can figure out as to why he didn't just kill the kid, it's because the kid has a stutter. I was like, really? That's all it takes? Okay. I mean, it's not as bad as Save Martha, but it's not that good. But overall, it was a pretty good movie, or a pretty good show. I like the way it looked. I like the way they're not hiding from the, like, because I kind of figured they would clean up the flooding from the movie. I thought that would be gone because it can't be cheap. And no, it takes it's like a week after where it starts. Like it was like, you know, highways are still collapsed and stuff, and there's trash everywhere. And I mean, I was like, oh, that's kind of impressive. I had an art teacher warn me about green once. He said it's just hard to get the right green. And I agreed with her then, and I still agree with her. It's hard to get the right green. Or maybe I just became gun shy after that. I don't know.
You could pretty much say that with any color almost.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have as many problems as I do with green. Which is funny because a lot of the paintings that I did...
Usually yellow, that's the biggest issue that I know of. But the key is that you don't put a lot of yellow into your green until you get to the foreground. Because yellow brings it right... Yellow brightens it up so much that you can't have that distance. Whew. And the great thing about this is that I'm doing texture, so if it fades away, that's great, and if it doesn't fade away, that's a little bit of texture. But I'm also going to be doing kind of that foggy effect over it too. So it doesn't matter if I get a little bit dark with the green. And when you put green over purple, they're complementary colors and they kind of make a brown anyway. The other thing is that when you get distance, you get that kind of the particles in between. So I can use white or Payne's gray lightened up or whatever. What I'm trying to do is really kind of indicate that there's grass and trees on the side of this mountain, but it kind of disappears from sight. So I'm not worried about how true the green is. If that makes more sense for you. This is all really background stuff anyway.
Oh my goodness.
That's the dumbass dog. So I'm gonna have to mute for a second because I don't know if he'll shut up.
Okay. Do you still want it muted?
What?
Well, you said you were going to mute it so you could tell your dog to shut up, which I thought was kind of interesting. But, all right.
No, I said I was gonna mute it because I didn't know if the dog would shut up.
Oh, okay. I understand better now. Well, that's why I was confused.
The
So,
dog used to live next door
right.
because it was somebody else's dog. And now he's our dog, but somebody else just moved in next door. So not only is he territorial, he's a natural asshole anyway. We're trying to teach him not to bark at little kids. So sap green. Things down.
Okay.
Because really, it's only important that I get a tint of green on here.
Yeah.
It's a pretty true like grass green if you wanted to do that too. But I just want to indicate that there's something ground-like so that when I cover it with fog, I don't even know if anything is going to show when I cover it with fog, but one thing that's not going to show is the paper.
That's good. What? I just saw something amazing and I have to see if it's true. Oh. That's not the same thing. Never mind, not as cool as I thought it was.
Did you see that the sequel to Van Helsing is going to come out next year?
Well, I saw something about it, but I saw it on Facebook, and I see lots of things on Facebook which are just
Well,
AI
I saw a
generated.
trailer for it and I shared it. It's supposedly an official trailer, but you know how that goes.
Yeah, I know. I hate the fact that you get people who they make fake trailers and stuff, and then they get you to click on it, and then it's not cool. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It's weird. I've seen videos that were trailers before, but they were up front that this is a trailer. Like,
You mean a fan trailer?
Yeah. So, like, one guy that I've watched several of his videos, he redid the Star Wars trailers to be more like Guardians of the Galaxy. And other stuff too, but I just remember the Guardians of the Galaxy one. And I mean, I thought that was kind of cool, like tonally. Plus, it kind of suggested some story ideas, and those were great because I wasn't fooled into thinking it was a real thing. I never got my hopes up. Like, I already knew Star Wars is real. I've already seen Star Wars. This is just a new take on some of the material. But yeah, when I don't know. Van Helsing 2. And I'm not seeing. Like, I see the teaser trailer, supposedly from Universal.
Is it on IMDb?
Oh, yeah. I could probably look at that. Couldn't
I just didn't have time to look at that before we came on, so.
Wow. I do. So, there. Ooh, which reminds me of something else we can talk about. Since an ad popped up for it. So far, yeah, there's nothing here for Van Helsing 2.
Well, if they had trailers released, then they would have something there already, right?
Yeah. So I saw the trailer. What?
I was going to say, because they've already got Highlander, a page for Highlander, even when they didn't have the curtain and all that. They don't have any trailers for Highlander, but they've got an IMDb page.
Yeah, they normally put IMDb pages up early.
What's that?
A lot of times they'll put them up early. Like,
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, if they don't have an IMDb page for Van Helsing 2, and they have a trailer out already, you can be pretty sure it's fake. Because if they have a trailer out, they'd have an IMDb page.
Yeah. So, I saw the trailer for the Thunderbolts film. And yeah, it could be okay. Like, I'm cautious, but here's my prediction. All the men are going to be relatively bumbling boobs, and the girls are going to carry everything and just have to clean up and fix the men's problems. That's my prediction. So, I'm not going to hold my breath exactly, but when there's like one section where the U.S. agent is babysitting, and yeah, of course the Russian equivalent of Captain America, whatever his name is, Red Guardian or whatever.
Crimson, right?
Oh, okay.
It wasn't that what David Harbour played in?
Yeah, him. And of course, he's always been a bumbling idiot since they've made him in the MCU. And then you had Bucky, the Winter Soldier, and they show him taking his arm out of the dishwasher. And I'm like, okay, it's nice that you're making all the men domesticated little bitches. And of course, the girls are just kicking ass. And it's like, all right, sure, whatever. Typical MCU. It's like Agatha Harkness or Agatha All Along or whatever the hell that show's name is. I haven't. Like, I guess it's out. I haven't watched it. I have no desire to, and it could have been cool, but it was. I mean, it just, again, it's it. The only male character looks to be basically gay, and I was just like, all right, I'm out. I don't have anything wrong with gay characters, but when the only male is this effeminate little teen, I get a little like, oh, okay, this isn't for me. That's okay, bye. You know, it's like you've made something for people that aren't me. That's okay. They're allowed to do that. Unfortunately, I'm still paying for it because it's still part of my subscription, and it's increasingly becoming that's all they do. Honestly, if you compare the best Disney Plus shows to like the Penguin on Max, the Penguin is hands down by far, I would probably say, the best. I can't think of any Disney Plus show that's as good as what I saw with the Penguin. Now, they could drop the ball, you know, it could suck still, don't get me wrong. And I've never been a DC fan. I've always been more Marvel than DC. I've always thought DC was kind of goofy and not as serious as Marvel Comics. But I swear to God, their movies are turning out to be the exact opposite.
Well, that's because the people that created Marvel Comics and started the characters that you like and love aren't there anymore. They're either dead or have been fired. So that's exactly what you get is what's left over. And what's left over is those that care about a cause and nothing else.
Oh yeah, I'm not completely crazy.
What's that?
Well, so the trailer, you know, it's doing a lot of stuff. And oh, never mind. Now I understand. Yep. Okay. I was trying to figure out who one of the members, because I couldn't quite tell from the. Oh yeah, that was another thing. Yeah, I suppose I'm predisposed, kind of, having been burned on too many Disney shows. I'm a little hesitant, but on paper, this could be cool. You have Taskmaster, even though it's the fake one, that's a girl. Okay. You have Black Widow, the new one. Florence Pugh Black Widow.
What?
You know, Florence Pugh, yeah, that's her name. Florence Pugh. Yeah. She's like the adopted sister of the real Black Widow, and now she gets to be Black Widow because the other Black Widow died. Whatever. And yeah, so you have Taskmaster, Black Widow. Is it Crimson Guardian? Is that what it is? Or is it Red Guardian?
I don't know. I don't much care.
Yeah, it's Red Guardian. Red Guardian, who, if he wasn't a bumbling idiot, would be cool. U.S. Agent, which could be cool. Ghost, which could be cool. Like, these characters could be cool. Even if some of them have been gender swapped, they could still be cool. But I'm not holding my breath. Like, I just don't see them pulling it off. I think part of what might be Marvel's problem is that they like to use humor, which I have no problem with humor. But the only people that it's safe to make fun of are white men. So after a while, it just gets to be old. Sometimes I think that all the people who work on these, or at least a large number of these people that work on these projects, don't like the comics at all.
Well, from what I've seen, I just don't think they care about it. Like, it's just an excuse for them to do whatever they're going to do. It's a medium for them to tell a story they want to tell, and not what the story is that they're supposed to be telling.
Well, what the characters are supposed to be like?
Yeah, they don't care what the character is supposed to be like. They care about what their agenda is.
Yeah.
Like, it's the same thing we keep talking about over and over and over with entertainment, is that if you want to create whatever for a representative of X box that needs to be checked, create a character for it. You got no problem with it, right?
Right.
But they don't want to create a character for it. They want to destroy characters that have already been there. The part of the point is to destroy it. Say we can, and we're going to. Which is sad because they've got plenty of examples and plenty of opportunities to create characters. They don't need to even use the characters they don't like. There's nothing. Well, maybe that's the thing, is that there is, like, Sony had to make a Spider-Man, otherwise they had to give up the rights, and you know what I mean. So maybe it's that kind of a deal, is they would rather screw the IP up just to keep the IP.
Hold on. My wife is signaling me. There we go. Oh, man.
I just think your clothes are cracked. You just looked at me through.
Well, yeah, I looked at it because you were blinking the lights.
Because I used that clothes and now there's a split in the curtain. And like, working the curtain.
Well, I would say that's your fault for asking me.
That's right. You fucking IQ.
And that's why I got up. Ugh.
You still have alligator clips that just popped open?
What?
You still have alligator clips that just popped open?
What, this?
No, above the fan. It's fine, honey. I'll put this I love you, bye.
Fuck you. Oh, well, I guess I'm not on mute. Okay.
Nope.
Well, I tried to be.
I did not know that.
Okay, IMDb is slowing my computer down too much. Huh. You ever have a story where the timing is off? Not the pacing. Like the pacing seems fine. But if you think about it for a few minutes, you're like, there's no way that could quite work out chronologically. Kind of like with Empire Strikes Back, where Luke was like gone for like a week. I mean, it just time wise doesn't quite add up. But the story that I'm working on right now, the short story, I want it in a short, compressed time because I don't want to have big stretches of nothing happening. But so that's a pacing issue. But some of it just doesn't. I'm looking at the time of it. I'm like, I think I'm going to have to go back through and figure out, like, plot it on a calendar or something.
I'm going to stretch for a second.
That's all right.
I'm glad you said that because I'm going to stretch anyway.
Well, yeah, I know.
My writing all messed up tonight. So. Ah,
Uh-oh.
happens. Nothing important. Oh, my deck's gone.
Okay. Oh.
Wow, the fever's still working. It's working overtime or something. You know, like when it said my blood sugar is at.
Okay.
Well, to be honest, wasn't all that long ago that I ate. Chinese always does that. Now I'm trying to find my flats. Not the flat I'm looking for, but
You know what's kind of weird? Just realized this. This week, or I guess, hold my calendar up. But yeah, Monday is the last day of the month, last day of this quarter for Riders of the Future. My stuff's been in for a long time, so I don't have to worry about that. But it's kind of weird. I feel like I'm missing something.
you kind of feel like you're missing something.
Yeah, like there's no urgency. Yeah. Although I suppose I have until Monday to get this short story that I'm working on done. So, but that's for a much smaller market, one that isn't, well, it doesn't pay anywhere near as well. So, but the guy was nice, huh?
I said, is it that one?
Yeah. Guy was nice. Doc, kind of like what he's doing. So I figured, I'll write something if he doesn't like it. Oh, I'll take out the shared world stuff and substitute my own. I was just trying to get it done before. I don't like turning things at the last minute, although I tend to. So, trying not to do that anymore. I'm trying to have plenty of time. Whatever. We'll see. Whew.
Fucker.
Okay then.
The one time I don't wear fucking gloves, the stupid cat doesn't want to go back on the tube.
Huh.
It goes so far, and then it starts tilting, which is I don't get it. You go halfway there, and then you start tilting. All right, that's fine. I'll be right back.
Okay.
So the answer there, for anyone still watching that cared, was to rinse out the threads.
Oh.
What happened is the paint kept squeezing out, squeezing enough into the cap. Squeezed enough into the cap where it just didn't want to do what it was supposed to.
Well, that got bold and crimsony.
Good. As long as it didn't get buttery tasting.
Okay. I don't know. Have you tasted the paint?
No.
Taste the red bottle.
But you're the one that talking that got bold and crimson. And like, as long as it didn't get buttery tasting, which would have meant you were tasting the paint, which would have been really weird because that's a long way to go to tasting paint.
There are a few jokes I could make, but I'll refrain.
Dad said something about joining us tonight, but I haven't heard from him. Because he filled in while you were gone. Let's see if he even answers. Probably not.
Okay.
Maybe it sounds cynical to you, but like every time I ask somebody if they want to hang out on stream, it's always I can't right now. I have this commitment, or I can't right now because my equipment's not ready. I'm working. Okay, I'm asking them because I'm seeing them online. Joe's working every time I ask him. His day off is Sunday, so of course.
It's got to make that cheddar.
We gotta make something. But I sincerely hope he does well. He's had enough series of unfortunate events pretty much to fill up a journal. Or a series of books, if you like. For those who didn't watch my Cthulhu, this is how I did his wing.
This is how we do it.
Except for there was a whole bunch of things grayed down on it first.
Oh. Oh. That is not a good. I'll just put this here. So, there's a call for submissions as a follow-up to the award-winning anthology, Too Trans, Too Furious. And it pays $100. And I'm just like, well, wait, you're award-winning? That's all you can pay. All right. Moving along.
Well, award-winning these days.
I know.
That could mean, what the hell is that voter's choice thing where you can go out and solicit people's votes?
Oh, I know. Like, what is it, Critters?
Yeah. Critters puts the award on. I can't remember what it's called. It starts with a P. Predators and Editors?
Yeah, maybe. Something like that.
Yeah. There are certain people that we know that are, refined teachers and all.
Yeah.
that brag about their winning awards there. So that's probably where this award was won. Because I'm sure if it was like they won like a push cart or they won a industry award, then they would say what award it was.
Yeah, probably right.
I've noticed a trend in the anthologies where they pay you based on what the anthology makes. And if it makes a profit, then you get a share of it.
Which is normally next to nothing.
Right, because normally they don't really make much of a profit.
Right.
Because, you know, names like that one.
Yeah.
I don't really much care if that's somebody's thing, you know what I mean? That's whatever. But
Well, I mean, I remember like 20 years ago or so, when I first started writing and publishing and stuff, I had stuff that got nominated on Critters, and I remember the last day before the competition was supposed to be over, my story, whatever category it was, my story was a couple hundred beyond the next person. And wake up the next day and this erotica writer had somehow blown past all the competition. And I just thought, yeah, okay, sure.
is he the Hugo winner?
No?
You know who I'm talking about?
No, I don't.
So, the last Sad Puppies campaign,
Uh-huh.
they made it a point that they were changing the rules of how you could vote for World Fantasy Con from then on. And they were telling you ahead of time, right?
Yeah.
So, Larry and a bunch of these other Sad Puppies guys nominated a queer dinosaur romance. And they made a push for it, and the dude won.
Of course.
It was, oh yeah?
That's the other thing. So I'm just, no, I'm curious. Yes, next. This ought to be insightful.
Oh, you gonna look it up now?
No, I'm not looking that up.
Oh, it's funny as shit. I thought it was anyway. I was very amused by it.
Oh, no, no. It's just like- Wow. So the last time a guy won the Hugo Awards, you want to guess what the last year was?
No.
Okay.
I mean, you can tell me. I'm not going to guess.
2015.
Yeah, who was the guy?
Zhizhen Liu, some Chinese guy, wrote the Three Body Problem.
Right.
And then 2014 is another girl.
Well,
And
which Hugo, though?
what do you mean?
There are several.
There's science fiction and fantasy.
Okay, well. Science fiction, fantasy, there are other. I think there's. I'm trying to remember what that guy won because there was a guy.
Yeah, I don't know. I find that funny for they always talk about how we need to have more women in fiction. And I'm like, okay, for the last 10 years, it's been nothing, only women have won.
Well, diverse voices, not just women.
Right. Well, it's dominated by women. Like even the runners-up. Like there are a couple guys, but for the most part, it's dominated by female authors. And I have no problem with that. Like I really don't, except for the part where when I go to look at submission calls and they tell me that I need not apply because I don't have the right plumbing and I'm not the right color. And then to have people gaslight and say, "Oh, no, women have to work so much harder." Like, oh, really? They have all kinds of programs and special publications just for them. You will not find that for men. You definitely won't find it for white men.
Great way, man.
Oh, God, yeah. It's like the third level of hell, apparently.
Well, that's straight way Christian then.
Oh, you're right. There you go. No, wait. There's one more. Straight white Christian Republican or conservative. Doesn't even matter.
That's the same thing, right?
Oh, no. Like
Christian conservative. Yeah.
Nah, I know a guy who is a friend of mine. I like him. He's straight white guy, and he teaches at a Christian university, and he's helped pastor different services and stuff, and he also pushes for a lot of leftist causes. So, once you become a professor, it's kind of mandatory.
What's mandatory?
That you become left wing. It's like 90 some, like it's like 99%, like percentage of college professors who are liberal. Oh wow, that's underreporting by far. Yeah, I suppose it depends on the university, but because this is saying the percentage of liberal far left has increased to 60% among professors. But that was 10 years ago, and
increased 60%. It was already fucking 90%.
Well, yeah, I'm just thinking about
now it's 96%.
Yeah. Like when you look at how many are conservative, it's super tight. That's the other argument I tend to dislike. Well, men have had representation since forever. We're just trying to balance it out. And it's like, no, that's you don't marginalize a group to fight marginalizing groups. It's just dumb.
Right. Had this discussion recently. It's not about equality. If it was about equality, it would be equal parts.
Right.
It's about revenge for some perceived slight, which is ironic because it's white people seeking revenge for any other color against other white people. I don't hear very many people of color honestly saying, you need to get down on your hands and knees and beg for forgiveness and reparations and blah, blah, blah. I see it on both ends of the scale saying that reparations are ridiculous because not everybody had the same experience, let alone not everybody that you're expecting to pay reparations had that experience. So, and there was thousands, like 28,000 slaves that were owned by black people.
Right.
Let's see if I can make noise all the way through here again. One says dioxazine purple, the other says purple dioxazine.
Oh, okay.
You know what's confusing is it's the same company. Okay. It's gray. I don't know if you can see it. Very, very little spot of things gray. Because a little bit goes a long way. And the idea is I'm going to use it for a base coat on his hair. And a little bit of a blue tint.
Have you ever heard the term Fantastica or Fantastica?
Tist or cast? Like Fantastica or Fantastica?
Fantastica.
I have heard Fantastica.
Because this encyclopedia of science fiction that was linked to this thing makes nearly no sense. Like, it says it's a convenient shorthand term employed and promoted by John Clute since 2007 to describe the armamentarium of the fantastic in literature as a whole, encompassing science fiction, fantasy, fantastic horror, and their various subgenres, but not proto of science fiction. The term does not so much attempt to define a supergenre as to designate a field of awareness. To speak of Fantastica is to evoke a heuristic device. It is a framing concept, normally restricted to narratives, with a focus on the procreative jostle of their interactions within a nest. Within a palimpsest of nests, through time, of other stories. What is this crap? I don't even know what a palimpsest is. Not that I'm averse to looking it up, but oh my god. Can we just try to use vocabulary to make ourselves sound smarter instead of actually trying to communicate? Idiots. What the?
Goose?
Well, it's just armamentarium. Like, why? Like, just why? Just.
Don King words of the day.
Yeah, but okay, so what's the point of an encyclopedia? The point of an encyclopedia should be to help you understand something. And all this thing did is try to show off their vocabulary. And it doesn't make it easier to understand. And it's just ridiculous. Oh, I do not like vocabulary for the sake of vocabulary.
You do not like vocabulary for the sake of vocabulary.
No, it seems dumb. Like there are other words that are going to be way more accessible, which will speed up and increase your understanding of it. So why didn't they use those? Well, because instead of just giving me the information I need and want, what they want to prove that they have a bigger vocabulary. Okay, good luck. Does that help with your communication? Because it kept me out of the conversation.
It's supposed to be like a grandiloquent word of the day or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, and I enjoy those because I don't have to know what they mean. But trying to figure this out is just like.
Well, what I'm saying, I guess, when I mention that, is I'm asking you if you're sure that they're not trying to do like a steampunk feel where they're using language that evokes that kind of
I don't know
time period way diction. You know what I mean? Like they're using it like they're using the grandiloquent word of the day or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't make it right, but and it definitely doesn't make it more understandable. But on the same hand, the same thing can be said for the grandiloquent word of the day if you're not reading the definition, right?
Well,
do they have the definition to what they're saying?
I'm simply saying, okay, imagine if you went to a dictionary and you're trying to read what a word means, and instead of it giving you it gives you what the word means, but it uses words that are even more esoteric, and therefore you have to spend all your time looking up the words to figure out what the definition actually means. Whereas they could have just used simpler words and it would have been easy to understand. So their goal is not to be easy to understand. Their goal is to show off vocabulary. And grandiloquent word of the day, that's their specialty. They're not like, I don't go there looking for other information. But an encyclopedia is supposed to be there to explain something, not to make it more confusing. Basically, it looks like another term for speculative fiction. Like, why not just use speculative fiction? But okay, you want to have Fantastica because it looks cooler. All right, fine, whatever. But
well, I just think it feels like it's a steampunk era-esque word. I'm not necessarily saying that that's true, but it kind of feels like that's what they're trying for. You know, that's what I'm saying. Like, I could be wrong, but that's kind of what it feels like. I could definitely be totally wrong, you know. I think the only time I've ever seen Fantastica like that is in, you know, reference to in a story with like dirigibles and such.
Yeah, whatever. I'm looking at some of these people that are on the, and no, they're just, their goal is not to be useful. It's to be smart, and that's not useful. Not particularly my favorite site. Tends to grind my gears when I think people are just trying to obfuscate what they're trying to say. Just say it. Puritan plain style. I love it. So, as part of my process, I tend to use Grammarly as if I use Write or Die to compose, and all the stupid quote marks are straight, Grammarly will fix that with like basically one button. It's very not difficult, and that's actually my number one use for it. But I also use it as a more advanced spell check and grammar check type thing. And even then, I tend to say no, no, no. But man, the other night, I forget exactly what I had written, but what they suggested, it was something along the lines of, he held up his gloved hand, and Grammarly was trying to make me change that to, he held up a gloved hand, which I thought kind of implies there's some hand just there to pick up. Like, I just like, why would you suggest that change? Like, I just, like, you are not making
I've had that better problem kind of with MS Word grammar.
Yeah.
Checker, where they're telling me like I can eliminate a word and have the sentence make the same sense, but it doesn't mean the same thing.
Right.
Like if I'm saying, on us, and it wants to just say us, like that on is important. Now I can't remember the exact context, but there was a couple of them in that last submission that I had put up that it wanted to change, and I'm like, no, I don't want to change that.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't say, like, I know if I'm using past perfect instead of just straight out past tense or whatever. It needs that extra word. Yeah. I sometimes don't like them at all.
Yeah.
Because they do that, and then other times they kind of rescue me from some stuff. I'm like, oh yeah, like, now that I think about it. But a lot of it, no. Like, I know exactly what you're saying because I'm there a lot of the times with this. Because, no, that is not what I meant. That's not what I'm saying. That's like when you write fucking autocorrect writes duck. I don't mean duck.
Yeah. I have rarely ever wanted to type duck.
Right. I've never actually said duck you.
Yeah.
I've never actually said duck off. So.
Or what the duck.
Right. If I'm going to use duck, I'm talking about dinner or talking about if you don't, you're going to get hit.
Yep.
Yeah. So, you remember what I was saying?
About
Hold on.
okay.
I'm gonna put something in the private chat. Remember what
Okay.
I was saying about like every time I ask somebody if they wanna stream, I said something to Chad about I thought you wanted to stream.
Yeah.
This is the reply I got.
Well, you know.
He forgot he's gonna wash his hair.
I was going to do that too.
Yep, well, and you have, about the same.
It's all right. You know.
Although you have a beard.
That's true. Yeah.
Chad might have a beard right now, but generally he keeps it shaved.
You know what I've been noticing about all the posts about Banned Book Week?
I haven't. I guess I'm lucky because I'm not noticing posts about Banned Book Week anymore. Anyway,
So, what was the name of the book? Hold on. There was one, like, it was really bad because it was like, yeah, maybe it's genderqueer. The one that like flat out shows it's drawing, but yeah, it shows gay oral sex between preteen boys. Like, it shows it. Like, I don't know how that's legal, because,
What's pornography?
well, yeah, and depiction of underage children engaged in sexual acts. I don't see how that's legal. That's one of those limits on the First Amendment. And they never put that book in the pictures about Banned Book Week. Never. They always put books like Lord of the Flies and Charlotte's Web, and, books that don't show underage children engaged in sex. Like, I'm a pretty big proponent on free speech, but I don't know, just depictions of underage sex just don't seem... I don't care if it's straight or gay. It's underage. That's the problem.
Right.
And it's intended for children. Like, that was a joke on Friends. There was a guy that said, I write erotica for children, was the joke. And now it's like, no, that just kind of appears to be what they're doing.
Nope, that was just prepping.
Testing the water.
Nope, just prepping the waters. That's what it is. Same thing as there are going to be mistakes during this vote. The news is telling us already that there are going to be mistakes. There are 40-some days left before the vote yet, and there are going to be some mistakes. Are you clairvoyant, or are you just prepping us to expect that you're going to cheat again?
Well, when they're... I was reading an article earlier saying that they want to do... They're trying to get 9 million votes out of a pool of 2.5 million. And it's like, wait, what? How is that going to work? And basically it's because there are overseas voters that don't have to have, which I don't quite get overseas voting. I'm like, yeah, you're not down. Why should you be voting if you're whatever? I guess military personnel and stuff. I don't know, but
yeah, that's the point. They should have the right to vote.
But why can't they do regular like if it's the military? Why doesn't the military set up a polling station and you just go do it? I don't get it. Like, why do you have to mail it in? And yeah, I don't know. I find some of this stuff rather suspicious, and again, when you purposely refuse, like when Democrats block votes to say that you have to be a U.S. citizen to vote, and you have to show proof of citizenship. And Democrats have all said, no, that's not fair. And it's like, wait, because they normally say that it's not an issue. We don't need another law. Well, if it's not an issue, pass the law. Like, what's it hurt? If it's not an issue, what's it hurt? But we know it's an issue, and we know that people are cheating. And it's just like, if you refuse to prosecute anyone for cheating, so you can say that there's no cheating, that doesn't really mean that there's no cheating. And that's pretty much what they've done since 2020. And I still find it really weird when they start saying, Kamala's got a plan to secure the border, which, I realize she's not the president, but she was the border czar and did nothing. And now she's having this this thing on Friday. She's going to go visit the border on Friday.
It's the first time
in 3 years. She was there in 2021. But yeah. Or when she flip-flops and says, "Oh, maybe we'll build a wall." It's like, yeah, no shit. Like, we should have already had the wall. And I really get kind of annoyed when you have people who say, well, Republicans had control of both houses and the presidency at the beginning of President Trump's term. Like, yeah, and half the Republican base said, was fighting Trump. So it was incredibly hard for him to get, Russian collusion and all that stuff. And, he's an illegitimate president, all kinds of things. It's like, okay, well, so it's really not that. But Kamala's been in office and she hasn't done anything. And, she's got the tie-winning vote in the Senate. And she's literally voted for things that now she says that she's against. It's like, well, it's good that you recognize your mistake, but I don't think you really have. And I think you're just saying that because you're not pushing for anything now. It's always later. What about now?
I think that's pretty much all I'm going to do on this tonight.
All right.
Not that, we have to run, but...
Yeah, but I can also go to sleep, so I don't know.
Well, the main thing is that I have to, the next layer is, first of all, I've got to let stuff dry. And then there's the next layer, I've got to do the ape and then come back through. There's only so much of the ape I'm going to do. I have to find a reference for it to make me happy. Just for the colors.
Oh. Well, I gotta say though, I mean, it's a drastic change since the beginning of the stream. So.
Yeah, like normally, like I was expecting to step forward and get maybe the mountains done and maybe a layer on the wings, but I pretty much got the whole background done lightly, and I've got a coating on him. I just wanted to get enough on here because once I get done with the ape, I'm going to refine this and then the sword, and then I'm going to do the fog, and then when I do the fog, it's going to kind of dampen down all this. It'll be right. It'll be not really graying it out, but enough to obscure it some.
Okay.
And like the last time I did that with green fogs and all that, and I didn't want to do that with the same look. I don't want to do the green fogs. I'm going to do I'm going to mix a grayish white. And I'm going to dry brush it over, I'm pretty sure. The person that's paying for this,
yeah,
I don't think that person stopped in and looked at it at all. Like they looked at like maybe the last couple of minutes of the video, maybe the last time. I almost just can't wait to peel it off right away, but this is all rough shape. That's all it's supposed to be, so That's for those that have been watching. I've seen the numbers pop up and down. This is not supposed to be super clear. This is a little bit clearer. I'm going to hit some actual yellows in here too. Yeah, I want to find a reference for the ape, at least for this, the hand in this part.
Yeah.
Like silverbacks, the skin is gray, like dark gray, charcoal gray. I don't know if I need to make it a silverback. I just kind of based it on that.
Maybe you should look at pictures of Bigfoot.
Yeah, right.
Well, I mean, it's roughly the right shape and just as real as anything else. That's a little less real, I guess, but
usually apes are real and Bigfoot's not.
Well, yeah, but usually apes don't have wings, so.
No, but bats do. That's what my reference was for the wings, is the bat, not an ape.
Anyway.
Yeah, anyway. Yeah, I guess. There's that. All those people that normally show up and say hi haven't shown up and say hi, so I don't think I'm going to hang out and see if anyone does hang out or show up and say hi. That's it for the night, and then next I'll be showing a couple of tricks probably. So, thank you all for watching, hanging out, liking, subscribing, following, all that stuff.
Yeah, please like, subscribe, all those things, because it helps support the arts and it's free to you. So why not?
Good night. God bless. Much love.
Peace.